is just a video where I'm just gonna talk about my thoughts and shit. I do talk a lot when I smoke. I get all like pseudo-philosophical. But, I usually just talk in my head. I love talking to myself. I don't really share what I usually think with anybody. Or maybe, but like people know how I am somehow. People who are close to me. But, they don't know everything about me. Basically what I think a lot of people are feeling right now. I know because I feel that way too. I know there might be people out there that feel the same exact way, but we just have no purpose in life. You don't really have any goals, and you just think that shit's gonna get worse and worse over time. Just like quality of life going down. Not just like on an individual level, but just like the world as a whole. Just the whole world. Fucked up. And you don't really want to be alive, but you're not killing yourself either. You're just out there doing something just to survive, have a place to stay and shit. That's just the reality we're living right now. I mean, there's a lot of bad shit that's the norm. Like you see greed everywhere. We're all fucking greedy. And, we have a system where you're incentivized to be greedy. You gotta make the most margins. So you gotta keep pushing it, and you just can't get enough. Every year, your goal is to beat last year, to get bigger, or to cut costs, to charge more, whatever it is that they keep fucking doing. But that's just the way it is here. And the more you get, the easier it becomes to expand or grow into different avenues. And, you keep getting stronger. The bigger you get, the more you can own. The more you own, the stronger you are, pretty much. It's like fucking Monopoly. It's the same shit. Monopoly is like the perfect fucking explanation of life. Besides the fact that we all start with 200, because, you know, everyone starts with a different hand. It's like poker. Sometimes you get trash. Sometimes you get the fucking best hand. You know, nobody starts with the same fucking hand. And then you just roll the dice. And, you know, if you're rolling it good and you're getting lucky, then you slowly start to own more and more properties. You start owning the same color properties, and at the same time you could get unlucky. You could be the one that's landing on a lot of properties, you know, landing on the fucking mystery cards and having to pay, or getting something unfavorable, or getting a favorable mystery card. Like, it's just a very realistic game, because that's what happens in real life. You could be at the right place at the right time. You could be at the wrong place at the wrong time. You know, eventually the game could go on for a short amount of time, or it could go on for hours and hours, but eventually it all leads to the same fucking scenario where one person grows too strong and he slowly starts to own other people's shit. You just have all the houses, everyone's paying your rent, everyone's losing money, and they're trying to keep up. You know, they're trying to land on the right square. They're trying to avoid your houses. You know, they're trying to do what they can, but it's just a matter of time where, you know, the stronger just keeps getting stronger and the weaker just keeps getting weaker and weaker over time. And then eventually one person has all the means of production, all the houses, all the revenue generating shit, and you're just out here trying to pay them. You're bleeding slowly, and you know how it's gonna end, pretty much. So that's pretty much how it is in real life. Yes, there's still competition out there and shit, but the big companies, you know, they own a lot of shit. And I feel like a lot of people know that. Like, you know, they know they're like out there working fucking 60, 70 hours just trying to survive, you know. Most of them are doing shit that they don't really like, but you know, they just need something to do so they can fucking have a place to stay and, you know, be able to take care of themselves. And I don't know, you just slowly like die. Like your soul fucking dies slowly over time, and then you just get used to it. At least some people are able to get used to it. Like, you know, some people can't deal with that. Like, and that's the thing, like, don't be scared to have like an opinion. Don't just follow everybody this is what life should be. We're all fucking different people. We've had different experiences. We grew up differently, different cultures. We're all influenced by a lot of different shit. But inside, you can feel if shit's good for you or if shit doesn't make sense to you. I truly believe that. And so, if your shit is to fucking get a van and live in it and be like, I'm not gonna chase all that big shit. I'm just gonna try to minimize my costs as much as possible, so therefore I don't have to work all these fucking long hours, and I can cut my hours in like 80 fucking percent. If you have a fucking simple setup of how you're living, you can make it work. But you just gotta be realistic and have a plan on, okay, how am I gonna do this? What are my potential expenses that I have to think about, and how can I make it work, pretty much? What sacrifices in lifestyle do I have to do, or that I'm willing to do? Some people can sacrifice a lot. Some people need more than others. Some people can say, like, I can't live without a shower. Some people might say, I'll just shower at the gym. Different people will do different levels of sacrifices and be okay with it. So, don't be embarrassed or scared to go a different route. Because we're not all supposed to live the same way or have the same goals to get out of life. We're all just very fucking different, individually and even as countries. There's so many ways of life out there. People will live different ways. And I truly believe that, it's not about comparing like fucking capitalism versus socialism and having it so binary. Like, I don't know why it's always black or white. You could take the good things from capitalism and you could take the good things from socialism, and you try to combine what works from each and try to minimize the bad things about each. Now, I'm not a fucking expert in all that, but granted that I've been living in America for 10 years, and I think that I could just see the bigger picture. You can see how capitalism works, where some people are going to be producers and some people are going to be consumers, and at the same time, you really can't be just one thing, because to consume, you have to have produced something, or even if it was given to you like a grant or assistance, somebody had to produce. It didn't come out of nowhere, just magically. So in a sense, everybody's a producer and a consumer at the same time. Like when you're at work, you're a producer. You know, you're using your time to make some money, and then you go back, you gotta pay your mortgage or your rent or whatever. You're a consumer again. So everybody's both to a certain degree, but you know, there are producers out there that just control so much that they just get bigger and bigger, and they could buy more stuff, and then our whole fucking system becomes reliant on them, because they just become like a part of how we do shit, part of our systems, like Amazon, like Google, how all those big companies that draw a lot of attention, they just become so integral to our lives that they just start owning it pretty much. And that's life for the average person. You know, the average person is a fucking consumer. And the bad thing about that is you always need to make more to keep up. And you could get to a point where you feel stuck and you're running late and you're running behind on bills and shit. That it just gets harder and harder for you. And for the producer, it's just getting easier and easier. He's getting bigger and bigger. He has more power. He has the scale. He could get better prices. He can spend more than you. You know, he has the marketing. He has everything, basically. He has way more power than you do. But you know, at the same time, everyone could try to become a producer themselves and trying to find a place in the world where they could add some value, or even perceived value, because not all value is real value. Like, there's a lot of shit out there that you don't really need, that doesn't really add real value to your life. It just gives you value, and maybe in terms of an emotion. Like, you're still getting something from it, or you wouldn't be doing it. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's really benefiting your life in any way. Besides making you feel a certain way. It's always better when you could give people real value instead of trying to scam them or fucking, you know, charge insane prices, where you're charging thousands of percents for your profit margin on like stupid shit, like fucking luxury handbags, and like, bro, it's just fucking made to carry your shit. You know, why the fuck do you need to spend $10,000 on a fucking purse? You know, what is it really doing for you? But, of course, not all people think like that. We're all different. We have different values, and some people like the flex. Some people like to flex. Some people like to show off. Some people don't. Maybe they're trying to flash to other people to tell them, like, hey, I have money. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if you do that, it's easier for you to speak to people, or for people to be more receptive of you. Because of a lot of the values that this system focuses on is how much money you make or how much money you have. And, that's how we measure a lot of things. That's how a lot of people measure their self-worth, or how other people measure the self-worth of others. Some people measure the self-worth of themselves using, like, how much money do I have? And some people focus on other shit, like, what kind of skills do I have? How much fulfillment am I getting out of this? So again, there's a lot of different kinds of people. And we're not all the same. And you just need to accept that. Like, you're not going to be able to control the fucking world with one ideology or one way, because that's impossible. Not everyone's the same. And the problem with capitalism is the constant need of growth. Because most of this fucking system is based on borrowing and debt. So you have to create that money from somewhere. You can't just, what is a loan backed from? What is backing a loan? It's just your agreement to pay it back. And just like that, you could create money out of nothing. So because we're so fucking reliant on debt, and that's just how we base our system on, is debt. And, it's just normalized here to fucking take out a mortgage and a car payment and a loan. And, it's normal here. It's seen as good. because you could get leverage out of that. You could get shit done faster instead of having to save up for the full amount for a house. You can get in with 20% right now. And now you have your own house, and if it goes up in value, that's good for you. And so debt here is seen as a way to create wealth. And the problem is the debt is just getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and we're just rushing to pay it back. And then to pay it back, you take on more debt to pay our previous debt. But your debt is still getting bigger and bigger over time. And, constant growth is not possible. Yes, growth is good, but eventually you reach a point where growth is going to have a negative effect. And that's in everything. If too many plants grow out and they're all fucking competing for the soil and the nutrients, then a lot of those plants are not going to make it. Because they're just too many. They're all fucking trying to get the same shit. And they're all competing for the same resources. Eventually growth goes from an upward to a downward trajectory. The value you get from growth is going to go from up to down. Because it's just not realistic to keep growing. If you have a fucking lions and they start out with 10 members of a pack, let's say. Now they have 10 mouths to feed. Let's say they're doing really good and they're hunting a lot, and because they're hunting, they're growing bigger. Now they're stronger than other competitors, and they slowly start to conquer that territory. And they're just getting stronger. They're getting bigger. More of their member of that clan is surviving versus the other clans. But eventually, you could grow too big as a clan, and now the more you grow, the more prey you're using. The more prey you're killing, the less the prey is reproducing, because you're making them smaller and smaller. And you're going to get to a point where as a lions you became too strong and you have too many members, and now you have too many mouths to feed and there's not enough prey. And now you're going to start fucking competing with one another as the lions. And some lions are going to have to fucking die. And there's going to be fights over food. And some lions are going to get injured. Some are going to be okay. And, the clan is going to have to go back to a good equilibrium where there's enough food for the amount of people there's in the clan. It's sort of like an auto-correction that, you can't avoid. You're fucking starving and there's not enough prey. What the fuck are you gonna do? And there's not enough to share. And, prey is getting harder and harder to find because there's less and less of them. And let's say you finally find a prey and you go and you hunt it, and now you gotta share that prey with, let's say the clan is now 40 fucking members. It's you're all starving, there's just not enough food. So, some people are gonna be the ones eating first. There's some lions that are gonna be not eating. There's lions that are gonna be fighting. And There's lines that are going to be getting weaker and weaker because they're not eating and they're not getting their energy back. And, it just corrects itself. And we try to avoid that correction in capitalism we try to push it more and more. And all this fucking different shit that they try to do to control the economy and try to keep it going. But, it's not going to go on forever. It's just impossible. You can't just keep fucking growing forever. So that's the main problem with capitalism. But at the same time, because of how much it grew, it provided you with so many comforts. And the whole system grew as a whole that, over time, your life got relatively better compared to the ones before you. Even though, life right now sucks. You could say that subjectively. But objectively, from different standards, your life did get a little better over time because of that constant growth. But right now you're at the point where you're just part of this big machine. And everyone plays a role, and more roles are more valued, they get paid more. Some roles are not that valued because a lot of people could do them. Some people's roles are valued because not a lot of people can do them. So you just become, if you don't really have a skill, it's almost as if you don't really matter. To the machine or to the system at least, you're replaceable. They have all the power just because there's just too many of you that's willing to do it. That, it's a supplier's market pretty much. They could hire whoever they want. And they could let you go anytime they want. They could just replace you that easily. You still matter as a person, of course, but to the system, you don't really matter. I'm not saying we shouldn't think those people matter, because everyone's playing a role to keep this whole fucking shit show going. And everyone would say start a business or get better skills, but it's just impossible for everyone to be a producer. Some people are always going to have to be working for other people. That's just the way it is. If everyone, let's say, becomes a doctor, now you have just way too many doctors that they're not going to become valuable, and now you don't have any more fast food workers. So, maybe being a doctor won't pay too good anymore because there's just too much supply of doctors because everyone wants to be a doctor. And, there's not enough patients for all the doctors, so not you can't pay a doctor like fucking $300,000 a year anymore or whatever, and you won't be able to hire everybody unless they're all competing for crumbs. Then you could do it, but you're not gonna pay them all good. Like, that's impossible to do. There's just not enough patience when everyone's trying to be a doctor. And that's how like entry level, low skill jobs are. You know, anybody could do them. There's a large supply of them because people are just, you know, some people are behind on bills and they'll do anything because they need to fucking pay the rent or feed their family, feed themselves or whatever. So you're always gonna have a supply of it for those types of jobs. But at the same time, there's always gonna be a need for those jobs. There's gonna be a need for a lot of different services, and that's what I'm saying. Like, not everybody could be a fucking producer. It just doesn't work. It's not realistic. Especially when you don't have the luxury of having access to capital. Like, and all you're worrying about is you're behind and you're trying to keep up. You're not even thinking about getting ahead because you can't even think that far. You're just so fucking focused on monthly bills or shit that you gotta pay, and you're just so stuck in that you know, good luck getting out of that shit. And, you know, a lot of those jobs don't provide any like meaningful satisfaction or purpose, that and it's where you spend most of your time as an average American. You know, if you work 40-hour regular work week or you work more, you know, that's what most people do. So you're spending most of your time at work. That's without the commute. And then, you know, you just have so little fucking time to yourself. And you're so burnt out that instead of trying to escape, you just numb yourself with entertainment, with good food, with shit, basically cheap shit that they've designed to release dopamine to keep you fucking going. Because if you're not because if everyone decides tomorrow we're not showing up to work, the whole shit would get fucked, just like that. But good luck getting people to work together towards a common goal. Everyone's just so divided. There's just different opinions and left and right, up and down, all that shit. But if everybody decides that tomorrow no one's going to go up to work, you know how much shit would go wrong so quickly? Food not showing up in places, shit running out, shit not working. I mean, I can't even imagine the consequences because the shit is so big and complicated, this whole machine. But yeah, a lot of people are just working to survive, and they don't really have much meaning in their lives, and they're depressed, and they're just trying to they have a survival instinct, and they're just trying to keep going and whatever, being stuck to their routine. And you know, you might wake up, you hate your life that you gotta go to do some shit that you don't even want to be there for. But you go anyway. You show up, you do it. You're not really doing it with passion or anything. You're just doing the bare minimum. And I get it. Like, you don't have the fucking emotional capacity to be like happy and put your fucking heart to it. Like, you could pretend, you could put on your fucking fake customer voice and pretend, but deep down is all that matters. Like, you can pretend whatever the fuck you want. It's what the fuck you're feeling inside. And then you get off of work and you go home or whatever, and you're on YouTube or TikTok or Netflix. You're just fucking trying to get some dopamine, bro. Some fucking dopamine release. Just to fucking be able to keep up with this shit. Or you fucking taking drugs, or you smoking, or whatever it is. Whatever that cheap dopamine that they provide to you at a cost they're giving you. Whatever the form is that you're using. And, you just become stuck in that fucking cycle. And, you're just fucking, you have no life spark in you anymore, but you just become used to it. I guess, like, if you keep doing something you hate, eventually you're gonna get used to it, or you're gonna get used to the feelings of being sad all the time or just being negative all the time. Like, I'm almost always negative, and I'm used to it now. Like, that's just who I am. I'm just a negative fucking person, I guess. And, you get used to it eventually. Like, you fucking live with it. And that's how most people are, I feel. They're just living with something they don't want to. And they've accepted that they're too small to be able to make any significant change in this world. Or they're too behind to make a significant change with their lives or whatever. And, you get stuck there. Meanwhile, some people have a good experience and they're able to be positive and actually want to grow and improve, and some people could do that. But like I said again, it's impossible in the system for everybody to get what they want. Like, that's just not the way it works. It's almost as if there's like, everything is pretty much supplied to you and you're just choosing from. Like, you're choosing your degree, and then you go search for a job, so all the job postings are already provided for you. You're not really like choosing those jobs, you're just picking from one of them. You're not choosing to do something yourself or do something new or just have something for yourself. So it's all pretty much given to you. Like, you have the illusion of freedom because you're given different choices, and you think, okay, I chose this path or I chose that path, and you think that you're free. And you feel free on the micro scale, but in the big picture, you're not really free. You were born into systems and values that were already in place, and you grew up in them, and you were shaped by them. So you're never truly free. Because a lot of shit was already put in place, or a lot of new shit gets put in place and you don't really have a say in it. You sort of have to just go with the flow. And if you didn't, you would be left behind. Like, it's sort of, the game is already there before you were a player. And you're just born into whatever game, whatever part of the world you're born into, and you just have to play. There's different rules, there's different shit you could do, and you just have to play by the rules of that game. And you might think you're free because you might think you're playing the game the way you want to play it, and you're making choices, but you're still playing in that game. You're still trapped in a game already. Like, you can't really play another game because you don't really have the power to change the game. You just sort of try to survive in it and maybe advance in it, get to a more favorable position. But at the end, you're still playing it. I don't even know where the fuck I'm trying to go with this shit, bro. I feel like I'm just fucking talking. Just fucking yapping. Some people fucking hate the game, the way the game is set up, and they don't want to play it. And some people don't want to play it, but they're forced to anyway. And they just have to deal with it. Maybe become emotionally numb, become depressed, or getting comfortable with fast pleasures that are provided in this day and age. Some people are happy playing it. So there's all different kinds. But if I were to design it, if somehow you're able to go back and redesign sort of like, let's not say the world because it's going to become too complicated, but let's just say a country. How would you organize it if you could go back and start from zero? Before this was the norm that we're living in right now, what would you have made different? And just try to imagine it very detailed and ask yourself a lot of questions so you can see what the challenges are going to be with the design that you choose. Like, is it going to work? What percentage of people are are going to be happy with it, what percentage are not going to be happy with it. And I think it's impossible to find this one thing that fits all, but which one is the best one overall compared to all the others? And so, yeah, to play this game, this fucking country, you gotta find a way to be a producer. And then, there's a lot of different types of producers. Do you want to produce something of value, of real value, or you want to produce bullshit? You could pick which route you want to go. How much do you want to charge people? Are you going to be a value where you have fair prices and, you calculate your costs and you charge a fair, acceptable profit? Or do you charge like a crazy amount and you try to make as much money as you can and cut corners to cut costs so you can make more and more money? So you just have to figure out what you want to be in, an area that you could produce value in this fucking machine. And eventually, things become easier for you in this fucking game. You start having more true freedom if you choose it. You get to a point where you don't have to worry about working and you get freedom of your time back. And then you could decide what you want to do with your time. I don't think there's true freedom, because that's also like unrealistic. Because think about it, like whenever somebody is born, they're born into a system that's already been in place, because there had to be a start at some point. And then some people came exactly at the start, some people came at a later time. But they all came into the system of the previous generation. So you're always born into a pre-existing system. Even your own body, like you were born into it, and it gets hungry. You need to use a bathroom, you get thirsty, like it's like you were born with certain objectives in life. You were already born into a game. Like some people, you could be born as a fucking cat, as a lion, as a fucking ant, as a bee. you're already born into some sort of role that you have to play. And depending what creature you are, whatever the fuck you were born as, you're playing a different game, and you have different rules, and you have different objectives. But the one thing that unites all living creatures is that we get hungry, and we need to basically get some form of energy to keep going. And we all living things share that. They need to get energy, and then they also release energy. And you release some, and now you gotta go renew it from somewhere. And for some creatures, they gotta kill other fucking animals to do that. For some animals, they have to kill plants to do that. They gotta eat grass. And you're just playing different games. So you're never ever truly free in a sense, because you were born into a game. You're free to play the game how you want, but you can't be a bee, because you're a fucking human. So you could play the human game however the fuck you want. And so now we have a different game than the one that we were playing, our ancestors were playing. They were playing that they have to go out and they have to fucking be in nature and shit. And they have to hunt. And they have to find shit. And they have to defend themselves from predators. And they need fucking shelter. And it's a different game than the one we play presently, which is, it's all motivated by the same shit. Like, the reason they did that is so they could fucking eat and survive. And the reason we play this game is the same shit, so we could have a place to stay and get food. And that's true if you're dirt poor or you're a fucking billionaire. You're still gonna need to eat. You're still gonna need to poop. But yeah, even different humans are playing different versions of the game, or playing it differently. So it's just like fucking layers and layers of different systems all living in one world. And they're all sort of doing different things. And some harm another, some are beneficial to one another. But at the end, it's all fucking working together somehow. So humans, because we're the smartest, I think it's more than the reason why we're top is because we're smart. Because animal could be smarter than a human in a certain type of way. But overall, why humans are on top, it's because we could build shit. We could build complicated shit. We could build tools that can make a fucking 10-year-old stronger than a lion. And we could put a fucking machine gun in a little kid's arm, and now he could kill one of the strongest animals. Just like that. He could just fucking pull his finger, and now he could kill a fucking 500-pound lion on the other end of it. So the reason we're on top is we're able to build all these complex tools. But just like the lion's growing too big because they're the strongest and they're killing all the prey. Eventually the prey is going to run out and you can only get so big. And that's the same shit with like the human race in general. Like, right now we're 8 billion. You can't sustain this growth forever unless you find new ways to make it work. But as of right now, we have this one planet. Even if there's other planets out there, all we have is this one is humans. And I don't think this planet grows or grow at the rate that we're growing. So, there's resources and there's limits. And, as a human race, we're so selfish and we're trying to take care of ourselves, and we're the strongest and we're on top, and we just don't give a fuck about the other fucking systems that we're fucking up. Are we consuming too much resources because we consume a lot because our fucking society is based on consumption? You can never stop fucking consuming because that's the shit that keeps the machine going in circles. Without consumption, this whole shit would come to a full stop and shit will start collapsing and shit will go bad real fast. And this fucking system we have set up. So think about it. You have a system that's based on endless consumption, because that's the heartbeat of it. Without consumption, the whole shit would shut down. And then while you're doing all this consumption, you're also creating a lot of waste product and harmful shit. You have all this fucking plastic other fucking harmful shit that you're releasing, and we all know it's not good and it's gonna hurt us in the long run. So now the only fucking question is, when is it gonna get too much? When is it gonna be like, I've reached my limit? When is the fucking earth gonna be like, I've reached my limit for how much you guys are asking me to do and the way you're treating me and the way you're treating other fucking things, like all the fucking animals and the environment, all the bad shit you're doing. And you know, everything has a breaking point, and one day we're gonna reach the fucking breaking point unless major reform is done in the way our system works. And I'm not talking about voting blue or red or any of that. Has to be done on a much way deeper level. A level where you could be like, how can we do this sustainably for everybody, where we could prolong this as much as we can and we could do it efficiently. You know, when are you gonna say enough to having things? How much shit do you actually need? Do you really need to be producing shit every fucking day? Because your needs as a human are very fucking simple. You have the same needs as every other fucking living creature. You need some fucking food and some fucking water. That's really all you really need. But, you know, to have comfort and some safety and privacy, you can also have a shelter or whatever. Or you could be part of a big community. You all live together. But what you really need is just the food and water. So, do we really need all this extra shit that our society is based on? New shoes every fucking year. New cars being produced every year. New fucking clothes every year. New everything. I mean, it has to, right? You need jobs for this fucking shit to work. And, you know, to have a job, you need to be producing something, even as an employee. So everything is based on production, endless production. Produce. Use resources over and over again, and eventually, like, shit's gonna run out. I mean, energy is not created or destroyed, right? So if you can find, that means that no energy is truly ever lost. It just becomes converted to something else. The problem is there's good shit we could convert it to, and there's bad shit we can convert it to. Like, you know, plastic waste, if you magically find a way to turn it into clean water, then all of a sudden plastic won't be a bad thing anymore. If you can find a way to do it in a responsible, clean way, right? Now plastic becomes an asset. But right now, we don't really have a use for plastic. Like, the way plastic is a fucking material that lasts a long time, and the way we use it is as a fucking thing that you use once and you throw away. You see how that's inefficient? You're using something that has a really long life for 2 seconds, and then you throw it away. Like, how the fuck does that make sense? You know, you go out to fast food, you get a drink, it comes in a plastic cup, you drink it, and then you throw it away, even though that plastic cup can last I don't know how many fucking years. plastic expert, but those shits last for fucking ever, pretty much. And the way you're using it is you're consuming it for fucking couple seconds or a couple minutes, couple hours, whatever the product is, and then you throw it away. And why are you throwing it away? Because the plastic companies need to keep making new plastic to sell to you, because that's how they fucking make companies. I mean, if everybody had one fucking plastic cup and you take that plastic cup everywhere with you and you use it for drinks in different places, and you wouldn't need fucking more plastic cups. Plastic cup producers would go out of business, and they're incentivized that they want to stay in business, so they need to make their product where you're constantly gonna need it. That's how you fucking stay in business, right? Which is how our whole shit is based off of. If you're providing this fucking perfect product that a consumer is only going to need to buy once, then eventually you're going to run out of business. So you need to make it where they constantly need to be buying shit from you year after year, so the whole fucking machine could keep running. So, if energy can't be created or destroyed, only change from one form to another. If we understand everything about the world, theoretically, you could just recycle everything. Like, if this system doesn't lose any energy because it can't be created or destroyed, I mean, all energy that we think is wasteful, it's not really wasteful. It's just converting to a different type of energy, and we call it wasteful because we don't know what to do with it, because we don't know how to use it, or we don't have technologies that can harness it. But that energy didn't really get lost. We just call it wasteful because it turned into something that maybe we find unfavorable, or we just have no use for it. So we just call it, it's lost energy. But that's gonna need like fucking, I don't know how long it would take, or if it's possible to reach that level of efficiency where you could take waste product and convert it into something good, and then that good creates waste product, and then you take that waste product and you convert it into something good. And let's say the heat that you're losing to friction, that you could take that and then use it to something good. Because right now, like, we call that like a loss of energy, but it's really just converting to a different type. And if you have this perfect system where you're able to use every single bit of energy, and you have it going in circles, converting from one kind to another, then could you keep growing forever? I'm not sure, but that system would theoretically run forever. It's too fucking complex to imagine. Like, I don't know how I'm fucking trying to imagine that perfect scenario. But the system we're in right now, we don't have that. And we have shit that we produce that's harmful and it's harming the environment. And some people have attitudes where they don't give a fuck about the environment, or they think it's gay, or they think it's just funny or whatever. But guys, it's a place you fucking live in. It's like not giving a fuck about your house, and you have it dirty and moldy, and you're fucking living it. In the end, you're just fucking hurting yourself. But I feel like most people do care, but they just don't understand what the fuck is going on just because it's not happening in their backyard. All this like fucking wasteful shit that companies dump into rivers, and you don't really see the direct effects of it because you're far away from it. They could take all this fucking garbage and go somewhere really deserted and just throw it out there. And you think that's not a problem because it's far away from you, but it's going to affect the life that's already there. And then eventually you're going to run out of space. We just have a root problem that we're trying to fucking put a tape on it and say it's fixed. We need to go to the fucking root problem that we're facing as a whole world. Forget about just individuals in a society for a second. Just think about the whole fucking world in general. Not just about you, how am I gonna make it, the things that bother me in my life is this and this, how can I fix that? No, just think about the problems of the whole fucking world in general. We live in a fucking world and we share it with other living beings. And living beings, they live within their means. They already have a regulatory system that's built in, which is you have fucking prey and you have fucking predators. And there's a lot of fucking competition. Predators are competing with other predators for prey because they both eat the same shit, right? And some preys go extinct, some predators go extinct. Everything is just in competition with each other. If you're a prey and you found a way to protect yourself better than other prey, then you have more chances of making it and growing, and versus the other prey is gonna slowly go extinct, right? So everything's just in constant competition. But if you let that system run, there's always going to be prey and predators. It's never going to get to a point where there's no prey, because it won't work like that. I'm just driving and I see like fucking border inspection. I'm like, where the fuck? How long have I been driving? I don't even know where the fuck I am. Just fucking mountains and shit. but I end up in a fucking different country. Oh shit. I don't know if I got that sign. Jamul, San Diego. What the fuck is that? I've never been out here. Ote Lakes Road. Anyways, back to the fucking prey and predator thing. It's self-regulating. If it becomes that there's too much prey, right? If the prey population grows too fucking big, they're gonna start eating all the plants. And if the plants are not replenishing at a good enough rate to keep up with the prey population, then some of those preys are gonna start competing with each other. They're gonna start fighting one another, and basically they're gonna kill each other until they reach a number where it's sustainable again and they could live together. And same with the fucking predators. If the predator population gets too big and now they're killing all the prey and the prey population is getting lower and lower, now the predators are competing for less resources, and they gotta fight one another. And they're gonna kill a certain amount of number until they reach a new equilibrium with the amount of prey there is. So that system is always self-correcting in a way. And we need to be part of a system like that where it self-corrects and it basically keeps itself in check. And we don't have that right now. Like, we just keep taking more and more debt, and we know eventually it's not gonna keep going forever. Like, we all know that. We all know it's impossible to just keep consuming and having more consumers, like 8 billion. You think, I don't know what number we could reach, but we all know that the system has a limit of consumption. And it's either, you need to know that, find the equilibrium. Is the equilibrium 8 billion right now with the world, where the world could go on for a long, long time? Or can it handle more? Or does it need to handle less? Also, at what rate of consumption per individual can it keep up with? You know, maybe if the world becomes a new system where it's not based on endless consumption, you could have a way, way bigger population because the rate each individual is consuming is so low and the world can keep up with it. But if our rate of consumption just keeps going up and up, then you can't have as many people anymore. So it's all about fucking finding the right equilibrium. And you know, how do you know what the right fucking number is? Like, I for sure don't. I feel like in the wild, just sort of, it knows exactly how to do it, because just the way that system is run is so real. It's based on like survival and people actually dying and populations going extinct, populations getting bigger. Like, it's just a very fucking real system of expansion and contraction. And you know, God knows how to fucking run that shit perfectly, bro. We're not God. Like, it's too complex for us. I think it's too hard to know the answer that's 100% correct, but I feel like we could at least have that as a goal that we need to work towards if we basically give a fuck about the future generations, and that's all it is really. It's like we know what we're doing right now is wrong, but it's still somehow working, right? People are getting shit, they have a house, they're eating, people are tolerating it because they're not dealing with the full consequences right now. But deep down that the consequences is eventually gonna come. Like if you're smoking every fucking day, maybe you don't feel bad right now, but one day eventually it's gonna catch up to you. And it's all a question of, do you give a fuck about the future generation or not? And it could be hundreds of thousands of years till shit hits the fan. But at a certain point it will, if this keeps up. It's just, there's no avoiding it. So it's just pretty much a question of, do we actually care about the future, or are we just so obsessed with our individual life that if we could get through it somehow in a okay manner, then we'll just keep doing what we're doing even though we know it's wrong. But if it doesn't hurt me too much, then I don't mind, because I'm not going to deal with the hurt that's going to come in the future. So I think that's a big question that we need to ask ourselves as a humanity. Like, this is so like on the macro scale that it would need a completely different change, like universally, at every level, at the education level, at how we live our daily lives, how jobs and all that. Like, if we could somehow simplify the system back to a more simple one, because listen, bro, this shit is too fucking complicated, what we've built. Growing is easy, but eventually, basically, growing the easiness of just multiplying something over and over becomes harder when it becomes too big. Turning $1 into a 2, that's 100% of return. But which is easier, turning $1 billion into $2 billion, or turning $1 into $2? Eventually, if you get to a fucking large growth, it becomes harder and harder to keep growing. Like, we all know that, like, it's unrealistic. That physically, you only grow to a certain height, and you can only put on so much fucking mass as a human. Like, you could do all those fucking steroids and whatever, but eventually, what's the biggest human? We all have a fucking limit. There's no human that's 2,000 fucking pounds, because we know unlimited growth is unrealistic. So how can we expect keep having to consume and to grow profits every year, where we know it's just impossible to sustain a growth forever. So we need to fucking do a system that's very fucking simple. That was the system that was here when we first came, which is you provide the fucking necessities, and you just learn to live with the bare minimum, and you shift how you get reward, how your system rewards itself from getting materialistic things to other things. You shift the value that your system is getting its reward from. Right now the way they have it set up for you to get your reward is to consume things and to get things and to get a house, to get a nice car, to spend money on entertainment, to just be a consumer, because that's where their incentive is. If the people with the resources are the people with the power, and the people with the power are the people who make the rules, then they're going to make the rules in their favor. It's just, everybody is trying to do what's best for them. So the way they're going to have it set up is to be to their advantage. So as a producer, what do you want? You want to grow? How can you grow? You need more consumers. So you're incentivized to make everybody a consumer so you can fucking keep growing. So we need to go back to a system where we're just focused on food, water, and shelter. It's a much simpler system, and then you sort of seek your purpose in life in something else, not by consuming and having to just endlessly consume products and different type of shit. You need to find your sense of purpose from somewhere else. Maybe it's a connection with God, a connection with your community, a hobby, whatever the fuck it is. And it needs to be equilibrium with the life around you. Because we're all connected in a long fucking chain. And if humans are causing damage to nature in some way, then that damage is gonna, and we don't stop, that damage is gonna spread. And because everything's connected to one another, eventually it's gonna come back to you. Like, you're not gonna be able to escape your wrongdoings, bro. And so I feel like as a world as a whole, we know like that we're living in the wrong way. And maybe not everyone agrees, but I feel a lot of people do feel that way deep down. But they say, "Oh, what can I do about it? Like, I'm just one person. I'm just an individual. Like, the system is so complex and big, and I'm just a small part of it, and I'm just trying to find my place in life and my place in it, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to survive in the world I was born into, and what's already in place. That how the fuck am I gonna change the whole thing and tell people that they have to let go of all those pleasures that they get and all those comforts that they got used to and go back to a more simpler time. Like, good luck convincing anybody that. So, whatever the fuck happens, I feel like it doesn't even really fucking matter what happens because everything's gonna end one day, anyways. And that's just a fact. So, does it even really fucking matter in the end if you fucking die and if you smoke your whole life and you do all this shit and you die when you're 30, or you don't do any of that and you die when you're 80? It doesn't even really matter in the end if you're just gonna die any fucking ways. Or if we do the best to take care of this earth and world, but we know that the sun is gonna run out of energy one day, and you know shit's gonna end one day. Like, everything has a life. Even fucking earth has a life. And so the question is, does it fucking matter if we extend it millions and millions of years, or it ends millions of years below its potential? Does it really fucking matter if it's just gonna end anyways? I wonder if everybody who thinks very, very deeply about just the whole of life would reach that same conclusion in the end, that I know I'm gonna perish one day, or the whole world's gonna perish one day, so does it really matter? But religion tells us that it does matter, and that there is a heaven and a hell, which is eternal. And so basically religion says that it does matter what you do, and life does matter, and there's wrong things and there's bad things, and it does matter what you choose to do and the decisions you make and the actions you take. But I wonder if religion was just made to give people that sense of purpose, if it was made up or if it was what really God taught. You know, did they just say like, oh, everyone is saying like life doesn't matter because they're gonna die one day? We need to change that belief in their mind, so we're gonna create a heaven and a hell, and we're gonna tell them that it really does matter what you do in life, and you have to do those kind of actions so you could go to this place, and you need to make those kinds of decisions, and you need to have those kinds of emotions. And, you know, just to keep people from not fucking being depressed and saying, oh, nothing matters, my life doesn't matter, it doesn't matter what I do. Well, who knows, right? I guess you'll find out when you die. That's when you really can say if there's a heaven or a hell. That's when the thing becomes real. That's when you die. And either you can experience nothingness, or, you know, what is nothingness? I don't even know what the fuck's gonna happen after you die. There's no point in me trying to think about it because it's impossible to know. And the only way to find out is when you're actually there. Well, I don't know, like, if you have a conscience and you do good acts, and you sort of get a good positive reinforcement feeling, and then maybe if you do bad stuff, you have guilt and you get a negative feedback. You know, maybe that's enough to tell us that it does matter what you do, and you do have to act in a moral manner. And, you know, seek the good. I don't know, the whole shit is fucking complicated, bro. I think that's a fucking good place to end this. I don't know what to even call this shit. Just me smoking and reflecting on life. But I'm tired of fucking talking. I don't even know if any of what I said is gonna make sense in the end. But I'm just gonna have to post this shit. And, you know, I don't really give a fuck how many people it reaches, or if it doesn't reach anybody, or if it blows up. Whatever the fuck happens, happens. But right now, I'm just gonna fucking end this shit and just stare at the tree and listen to the birds.